welcome to the Great Railway Chinwag. This is the final installment of the first episode of what I hope is the first season of the first year and the first decade of many, many interviews and pointless conversations about primarily trains. And you can listen to the other two if you want. I don't know. You do what you want. You do you. This is the final part, so this is my last part of the conversation of an evening with Evan Lofback with our good old chins wagging away. In this part, we're going to talk about what is missing from railroad documentaries, and do we take this too seriously? I personally don't think that I do. We're going to comment a little bit on Danny Harmon's style and Evan's first documentary that he made, which was not the 4501 one. I bring up that mall trains have not been documented, and I think that would be a great thing to cover. If Evan would name his kids, which Thomas the Tank Engine character it would be after, some of his plans for the future, and I'm going to intersperse the whole conversation with random bands that we like, and one that I recently found in Argentina. So, enjoy. Okay, so I have one last question to you about making.
And then there was one.
Yes, that. And then there was one. So you can speak from the high cloud that you ride on of having accomplished what you have with your barometric pressure that has pushed you into the sky. So what do you think is missing, like, from railroad documentaries? Like, what's something that you don't see that you think should be there? As somebody that made something that's obviously way too long.
Probably humor. I think that people take this stuff way too seriously.
And why is that?
I think they put too much importance on it a lot of the time. I'd like to see people take things less seriously in this hobby.
Do you think that
not that there isn't a certain amount of seriousness that should be ascribed to it, but
right.
I think it needs to be balanced, and I think it needs to be entertaining.
Do you think that
not that I'm not funny. So
it's not true.
Well, me saying that though, like being like all these, these railroad documentaries out there, these people making them, they should be funnier. It's like, but I'm not really funny, and the documentary I made is not funny.
No, you shouldn't force it. I think that your personality should definitely come through.
Yeah,
like you've talked about what's his face, Chambliss or whatever.
Yeah,
he edited it like that's cool. And then you had, I don't know Danny Harmon myself.
Shout out to Danny. I can't believe I haven't mentioned him before now. Well,
I don't know Danny at all. He probably hates me or something. I don't know.
I don't think that's true. I don't think Danny hates anybody.
Well, that would be great if he didn't hate me. Whatever. Like,
here's the thing. Like, I barely know Danny.
I don't know him at all.
Like he and I he actually, I don't know if anyone knows this. And Then There Was One was not my first documentary.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that?
Mm-mm.
The first one I did was even worse.
Was it about Danny Harmon?
No.
Is that why it was worse?
No.
I'm just... This is why Danny Harmon's going to hate me. And I hope if he listens to this that he finds that I am just playing around.
I get the feeling that Danny will not listen to this, but I hope he does.
He might.
It'd be great if he did.
Yeah, and I could say hello again, rail fans. And
until next time, we'll see you out there on the high iron.
Yeah. No, he's got a really cool style. Like,
yeah, dude, like Danny Harmon's videos were the first ones I ever found, like rail fan oriented on YouTube.
Right.
When I was a kid, and like I watched those things over and over and over.
Now, because you were born in the second century of this century, you are much younger than I am, and YouTube was around already. So, even though you're 28, yeah, YouTube's been around your entire life. So, I think that you finding Danny Harmon's videos about signals.
Oh yeah,
I remember finding those, and I was like, I don't know what the heck signals are. and I had been working on dark territory narrow gauge railroad using a timetable authority. Like that's how I understood railroading when I moved back to Orlando and then tried to work for a short line that interchanged with CSX, and I felt like that soldier, that like that guy we were talking about earlier that had the buffalo casserole.
I don't know how he felt, to be honest with you.
Well, okay, so
I figure if you're a soldier in the Civil War and you've got a buffalo casserole, like you're doing pretty well. You're probably a pretty happy guy.
Well, okay, yes, you would think so. But if your tent mate did not cook it correctly, or if you were out walking the line of oak trees or amongst the sycamores,
Underneath the sycamore. Shout out to Death Cab for Cutie.
Never listened to them, never liked them.
I can't do this podcast with you.
Well, that's fine. I'm just going to stare at you deadpan till you understand that this is, we can have a difference of opinion. But I was listening, by the way, Death Cab for Cutie days when they were like in their heyday. I was listening to Dismemberment Plan and Medeski, Martin and Wood primarily.
Oh.
And this is like just after my days of Portishead, and I was starting to get into Radiohead.
Okay, Radiohead is the first band you have mentioned that I know.
Okay, Portishead's cool. You should check them out.
Okay.
We'll get into that another time.
Yes. Moving on. Let me mention the other documentary that I made was called. And keep in mind, please, that I was 15 when I made this documentary.
So 89.
No, 2010. It was called Journey of the 8330. The 8330 might ring a bell for you, actually. Come to think of it.
Oh, I know somebody who has run the 8330.
Besides me?
And besides me.
Thomas East?
Correct.
Ha.
We
Anywho.
We don't have to digress more information about how that happened, but cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
It is cool.
That's a community reference, by the way.
It is.
If you say cool twice or three times in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good job, Thomas. Thanks for letting us run stuff.
Yeah. So, what's the statute of limitations on this stuff, by the way?
Dude, I got no clue.
I think we might be past it. We might be that old now.
I don't know what you're talking about specifically, but I have nothing to worry about.
I feel like I need to Google this. Well, anyways, I'm not going to go into details, but the Florida Railroad Museum did purchase that locomotive back in 2010.
Yeah.
And, it had to get shipped from, was it Mount Dora, Eustis, Tavares?
Mount Dora the Explorer?
Yeah.
Yep.
One of those towns over there in Central
Yeah.
Florida. Had to get shipped from there to Bradenton, where it would be connected over to the Florida Railroad Museum.
Where did you live in like relation to?
I was in Palm Harbor, just north of Clearwater, Tampa Bay.
That's where a lot of manufactured homes are named after.
Maybe.
No, I'm serious.
I can neither confirm nor deny that.
I just remember like being a teenager and seeing Palm Harbor Homes, and it'd be like double.
I know the brand. I don't know if they're actually from Palm Harbor, Florida.
Like I don't think that they like grew the homes inside the harbor. Like they didn't like put like house seeds inside the harbor.
Yeah, I don't think that there was any confusion about that.
And they just like dredged them up.
Yeah.
Like, oh, here's your house. Let's put it in Arkansas.
Well, anywho, I could go off on a tangent about this documentary. It's fine. It's not that good. I think they might still be selling it at the Florida Railroad Museum. Maybe. I haven't checked in a very long time.
How many times have you checked YouTube to see if somebody hasn't just ripped it off and put it on YouTube?
Oh my God. I've never checked that. I should.
Well, so next time I come over, let's do that. And then the other thing that I want to do with you.
Gosh, I want to do that right now because I'm so curious.
Go ahead and do it then. Let's cover that.
Yeah. That would be I'd be honored to have this documentary ripped because it's so not good. I don't know why anyone would want to waste the time on
I've
it.
had some of my audio ripped off from YouTube, but it was back when it was like long enough ago that I knew like how many whistle videos were on YouTube and like which whistles were what. And I had
So
go ahead.
I mean, it's not coming up in search recommendations, so I don't think that's a good sign.
Wow, look at you. You're like
Oh, I've forgotten that I posted a couple of trailers for it on my YouTube channel, so that's the first thing that came up.
like the cars at the 8330 is pulling.
Oh my goodness, someone does have a video on, like, I don't know what that is. Okay, I'm gonna circle back to this off air and figure out what on earth this is.
Okay. So that being said, what I would like to do with you.
You know, and I still never got around to my point. My point was,
Go ahead.
I interviewed Danny Harmon for that
Right.
documentary.
Okay.
For the 8331. And he was so kind because, as I mentioned, I was 15 and didn't know what I was doing, but he actually met me in Plant City.
But aren't you guys both from like Tampa anyway?
Yeah. But I mean, still, like, you know, the guy took time out of his busy schedule to come and do a really, you know, not professional interview with a 15-year-old kid. And I was forever grateful.
What is his background? I mean, I think he's a weather guy.
He was a voiceover artist for, I think, Fox 13, Tampa Bay.
Okay.
I think he still is. I think he still does. I think he's technically retired, and I could be totally wrong about this, but I want to say he's technically retired, and he still does pro bono work for, or not pro bono, but as needed work for them.
Right. Like he goes to court and like he'll do the voiceover for somebody that's like robbed a 7-Eleven.
Yeah,
Like
sure.
pro bono. Like
Look, I know what I did there. I was very wrong.
I know, but you know, imagine the pro bono work, like accomplishments that you could have, like if you had Danny Harmon's voice and his.
Oh man, I wish I had his voice.
Like imagine if you're trying to defend yourself
Yeah.
from like
So, but that's the thing. Like,
robbing a bank.
so here's the level of interactions I've had with Danny.
Okay.
I liked his YouTube videos back in the day when Yahoo Groups was a thing. Like, I was on Yahoo Groups for the Florida Rail fans.
Oh,
And so like he and I had some interaction through that.
right.
I met him at Folkestone Rail Watch a few times.
Okay.
He did that interview for me, and then like he and I didn't talk for years, and then out of the blue I reached out to him one day and I was like, hey, would you be interested in doing this narration for this project we're doing? And dude just straight up volunteered to do it.
That's cool.
Expected no money, put in, I mean, it had to have been hours worth of work.
Right. Just like this.
Yes. I am forever grateful to him, as I am to many people who worked on the doc.
No, he's very professional.
Oh, yeah.
Like his videos are, that's not a style that I can emulate. Like it's just not my personality, but he does it very well.
So I want to talk about that too, but we probably don't have time. I will say that your style of video making is very unique. And that's what I like about it so much, is that you can't find other stuff out there that's like this, but it's still of a certain caliber that makes it really enjoyable to watch.
Well, it's mostly because I shot it with an iPhone.
Yeah, the iPhone caliber.
Yeah, like I used an iPhone, and then I edited it with the Ken Burns crop.
That is good stuff.
Yeah, I think that the Ken Burns crop is definitely my signature. Like, I think eventually Apple is going to rename the Final Cut edit when you're in there after me.
The Ken Burns signature cut is my signature cut.
My signature cut. Correct. Yeah, no, it's a great stupid tool to use. I used it. It's actually a pretty easy way to, like, if you have something that's like really narrow, like if you have like an old timey like train schedule that's like narrow and you want to like scan down, it does this nice thing where it will like start at the top and then ramp up in speed depending on how long the clip is, and then ramp down to a stop.
Yeah.
And that, thank you, Ken Burns.
Yep, I know that effect you're talking about.
Exactly. Like it's a nice little built-in feature. If you
Every now and then I feel like I need to get back into video, and I've just never done it.
Yeah, video is fun, but my problem with video is I have a lot of ideas of what I want to shoot, and then actually like pulling it off. Technically, like I've had different cameras now. Like in the camera I've got now, I'm a bit underqualified to operate.
Is it still that Sony A7R?
I've got a Sony FX3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I bought it because it's got the full frame sensor, and
Yeah.
it replaced the camera that I lost in a fire, and
There's a
you can change the lenses.
I've got an A7R3, and I was looking the other day. I can't remember if they're on A7R4 or 5 now.
Something just came out the other day. I forgot, but yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen people talk about it.
It just came out. It legit. I am not joking when I tell you that it has a train photo setting on it.
Well, that would be fantastic because the other day I tried to foam the 154 pulling up the hill with the full tonnage train they were pulling a couple weekends ago,
Yeah.
and it was. Oh, what was it doing? I had it focused, but the screen is like so shiny, and it's not big enough for me to really see where it's focused until like I actually put it on my computer. And it was doing focus breathing. So it's going back and forth like between like a tree and the engine and the steam and then another tree. And I'm like, no, like, and I was trying to like force it to like focus manually.
Oh man, I sympathize because I have really similar problems with my A7R3 and my telephoto lens. If I'm especially if it's like, darker outside and I'm shooting into headlights.
Right.
Oh, it's a disaster every time.
Yeah, I got a decent shot the other night. Just trying to, I forced a couple settings into the camera, and I did a practice shot with the engine backing across Nayland or whatever it is down there at night, and it looked like it came out decent. Like there's no grain that I really saw.
Are they firing that thing up tonight?
Yeah, they fired it up today.
Okay, were you out there?
No, I didn't go today.
Okay,
but I might go out and chase it tomorrow afternoon.
Cool.
So if you want to do that or not, who cares?
I have a thing tomorrow afternoon, but
yeah,
I do want to get out there at some point.
Like you mean having a life?
Well, I've got a meeting I got to be at.
That's fine. Okay, so here's the thing. I would like to watch at some point with you.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a kid, in the millennia that I was born before you, there was a show called Great Railway Journeys or something, and because my dad worked at PBS, he knew when it was going to come on, and he also had like beta and VCR stuff like way before most people did, so he taped all these episodes like in the 80s. So I have these episodes where I did have them as a kid, and I'd watch them over and over and over again. The thing about the one with Michael Palin, first off, he was on Monty Python.
Mm-hmm.
So to be on Monty Python, you had to have a sense of humor.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm curious, like, to watch this because you've told me that you haven't seen this before, to see what you think works about this, maybe this episode, because it's basically him on a journey from like his house, and he takes like this trek across Britain to go do some like rare mileage, and this is like in the early 80s, so like I don't even know, I've never been there. It would be kind of cool to like see
I've got
even research like what exists and what doesn't now. But
yeah,
I just we have YouTube now. This was 20 something years before YouTube even existed, and back then you had just a long format, one or two different shows that were railway things, but I liked the ones that had the humor in them.
Yeah.
So I would like to watch that with you and just kind of get your opinion and watch it and do that.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, you said something about there's not enough humor. What kind of things have you not seen done yet that you might like to see? That might be a hard question.
It is a hard question.
To just answer off the top of your head, because I don't really know what I would say immediately. But you said something about humor, and my personal opinion is just people's own real personality coming through.
Oh yeah, I mean that always makes things better.
Yeah,
for sure. So I mean, I think my comment about wanting to see more humor covers a lot of that. But I mean, even outside of that, I feel like there are certain parts of the U.S. rail system that have not been covered very much, if at all. Like I think about Montana Rail Link. Everybody under the sun has been out there, and for good reason. Like I love Montana Rail Link. I've gone out there and shot it. Like we lived in northern Idaho for 8 months, and man, that is God's country. Like
God spent more time there
for sure.
Like he took a break.
Well,
just like, you know what? I'm going to make this nicer.
Yeah, I think he spent more time working on it compared to like Florida.
I mean, Florida's okay, but people would argue that the sunsets are pretty cool.
I don't think of that as they're not cool because of Florida.
It's just because of the atmosphere.
Yeah. I saw some pretty great sunsets in northern Idaho and Montana. But anyways, the point I guess I'm getting at is I definitely think there are certain parts of the country that documentaries tend to focus on.
Right.
I'd love to see something more off the beaten path.
Okay. Are there any examples that you could just name immediately?
I mean, yeah, goodness. Just some of the rail lines in our immediate area. I mean, you don't see tons of stuff from like Eastern Kentucky these days, especially since coal has taken a dive.
Right.
I don't know that I've ever seen anything professional. Maybe I take that back. I think there may have been something in the early 90s on CSX's Cincinnati to Atlanta, Maine.
Right.
The KD and CC subdivisions. That would be pretty cool to see something modern on. Yeah, I mean, those are kind of the first things that come to my mind.
What about the train at the mall? Like I haven't seen.
I mean, we definitely don't see a lot on that, and
yeah,
I don't think anyone's complaining.
Well, I've never seen any like videos, with like.
Now, if we could get some like mall train accidents, I would watch that.
Well, those exist.
Can you send those links to me?
If I can, yeah. Again, gotta be careful what I post. But yes. No, I would like to cover mall trains. I think that'd be kind of fun. You could cover like the mall itself. You could cover the routes, how many miles a day that they're expected, like the, kind of like what the crew calls are like, like how they're dispatched. I think
are they smart TD or BLET?
I think it's mostly dark territory.
Yeah.
So it would just be like track warrants or something. And
I would argue it's yard limits or accepted track.
I hate yard limits and I hate accepted track. I want to go fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's go. Like if we're gonna go from JCPenney to Macy's, let's move this train. I mean, you've already told me and got me excited with this like Coors bullet train. Taste the Rockies and stuff, and it's super cold and it's like going across the tundra. That train's got to be going like 140 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And I go to the mall, that train needs to be moving, Like, why am I paying extra to shop in this like enclosed building that we have to pay?
That just has slow trains.
Yeah, like we're paying extra for the electric, for the landlord that owns the land that the mall is sitting on. I want a show. Like, let's get this train moving. And the kids are gonna love it because they're the only one they're the only ones that can fit inside. So, yeah, let's get some mall trains that are high speed.
High speed.
I think that would be something that I would push. If I was a politician or something.
Yeah.
I think that
that would be your platform.
That would be my bipartisan. Everybody can do.
John's running as an independent.
Right.
His entire platform
No.
is high-speed mall trains.
The irony is, though, train joke is I would not be running independent because that would mean that I would have brakes on.
Huh.
But bump.
I
am not doing the rim shot for that. That's terrible.
didn't know there could be such a thing as a horrible train joke and a dad joke combined into one, but there it is.
And especially with a mall.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
this entire segment is disappointing.
No, it's not. It's actually fantastic. My next question for you is, if you had a kid, which
I reject this question on
No, no. You cannot reject this question. Okay. I will get your wife upstairs and we're going to ask her this question too if you refuse to answer this. My question to you is, if you had a kid, which Thomas the Tank Engine character would you name them after? And for example, if you named them Harold, would you name them or expect them to go into the aviation industry? Or if you named them Toby, would you expect them to go into human resources?
Like from that documentary. It's funny that you used Harold and Toby because those are two names that I absolutely don't even remember from that show. The only ones I can think of off the top of my head are Thomas, Percy, Gordon?
Jeremiah. Gordon
was one, right?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Was he the blue one?
He was the fisherman.
The other blue one.
He was the Gordon's fisherman. You had to trust him.
And I remember James.
Yeah, James. King James. He wrote the Bible. He was the locomotive that wrote the Bible.
Sure.
Is that how that works?
Yes. Anyways, I would not name them after someone from Thomas.
Is there any other show that you would name your kids after?
Well, we named our dog after Walter from Fringe.
Not Breaking Bad?
No, not Breaking Bad. Definitely not Breaking Bad.
Not the Waltons?
No, not the Waltons.
Okay, so you don't like say goodnight to it every night with like 17 goodbyes?
No.
Good night. That's actually a joke that's too old for you. So
I know what you're talking about.
Good night, Grandpa. Yeah,
I know the reference.
Okay, so
hey, I had grandparents and they had TV Land.
Yeah, see, when I was a kid, it wasn't TV Land yet. It was just Nick at Night. So, just saying. But anyway.
I think those are two different things.
Okay, so I know that you're busier now. In your personal life. What kind of stuff would you like to maybe do potentially when you do have the time? And also, where would you be interested in living if circumstances allowed?
That's a good question. Well, I mean, what I am doing with my personal time and what I want to be doing with my personal time is working on this train dispatching simulator that has been going for 6 years and is literally still within like the first.
So there's trains that have been sitting for 6 years waiting for you to dispatch them?
No. I'm still working.
That's a long time.
Look, it's like maybe 10% done. Maybe. But here's the thing. Here's why I'm only 10% done.
So when you're like 88, you'll be done.
Here's why I'm only 10% done. The first iteration I did of this thing, I probably made it to like 60% done.
Okay.
And then my career path changed and I learned a bunch of new things in my field of expertise and decided to completely rip out everything I had done prior and start from scratch.
Right.
And since it was such an important time in my career where I was learning a lot of new concepts, I literally ripped everything out and restarted like 10 times over.
Right.
So now I've finally been on this last iteration for probably a year and a half now. So that's why I've actually made it to 10%. And I don't plan to change at this point. Like I'm definitely in the gear or in the mindset of like, just get it done at this point.
Is that something that's supposed to be a secret or?
No.
Okay.
I've got a Facebook page.
I know that we live like kind of close to Oak Ridge, so I just wanted to ask. So just being careful.
Yeah, my train dispatching simulator is definitely related to national
security.
Yeah.
Well, never be too careful. So I don't know.
I think you can be too careful in this case.
All right.
Personal question. What band have you discovered lately? And
Ooh. Well, hey, wait. I never answered the second part of that last question.
well, I forgot what it was.
It was where would I live?
Oh yeah,
I would totally live in northern Idaho again. In fact, there was a house up there that went on the market.
it's on Zillow.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that's where we found it.
Yeah.
We showed this to you, right?
No, but I know that like you've got that kind of attachment to Idaho because
Yeah.
ever since you guys came back, like I remember you talking about that. So
Yeah, we didn't come back by choice. The job situation necessitated it, unfortunately.
right.
But there was a house up there that is like, oh man, it's our dream house, like as is, in that it's like the perfect floor plan, the perfect kitchen. It's got everything Alexa wants. Like it's just the right size for us.
Yeah.
But the location, it's got a mountain view, which we've always wanted. It's got this nice big back porch.
Yeah.
And it's sitting up on this hillside, and it overlooks BNSF's Northern Transcon.
And it's also very far from Oak Ridge.
Yes, definitely.
Which is
however, it is very, very close to, like a bunch of neo-Nazis and stuff, because Northern Idaho is known for that.
Is it?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you remember Ruby Ridge back in the 90s? It's like this big FBI shootout with these arms dealers.
No, not really. I was a kid, or I was a teenager, or I wasn't paying attention. So
yeah, well, it was a big deal at
Vaguely.
the time, but it happened like 20 minutes north of Sandpoint.
Nice, but it also happened 20 years ahead of you living there.
This is true, but I guarantee you it has not gotten better. Like it wasn't like they took out the only anti-government extremists up there.
But it also sounds like a pretty nice like subdivision name.
Ruby Ridge.
Yeah,
Yeah, it would be. I'd live in Ruby Ridge.
I live in Ruby Ridge.
Not the real Ruby Ridge, but the subdivision Ruby Ridge.
Would it have a gate?
Yes.
Would it have like diamonds and stuff on the iron bars?
No.
Would it be gold?
No. Bronze.
Who would be the gatekeeper?
Probably a robot.
Why not a locomotive? Because you could just like run them over because it has right of way. Like, no, you're not allowed. It just squishes you.
Okay.
I think that a locomotive is like
Maybe that's where 4501 should retire to.
I don't think it's ever been out that far west, but maybe I'll ask it when I see it next time. Like, hey, would you ever be interested in guarding a gated community? And then
Sure.
And then
Or maybe 610 would be better suited for that.
no, 610's not as heavy.
Yeah, but it's
However,
smaller.
But it was an Army engine, so I'll give you that.
Yeah. I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just thinking it was smaller, so it could like fit in the gatehouse.
Yeah, so it would still draw like it's like like its benefits from like the
Military.
yeah what is
The
it,
government.
the VFA and stuff. So
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, so
You did ask a different question. Oh, bands.
Bands, yeah. So like what have you listened to lately, and who should I interview next?
Oh.
That's not
Okay,
you,
so
and not your dog, and not your wife, and not the 4501.
okay. I mean, I would not have answered any of those things, but I'm glad that you narrowed it down.
Well, I'm trying to just help you because it's getting late.
Yeah. So I have been listening to The Arcs. They're an older band. They're one of Dan Auerbach's side projects.
The Ark is very old. I mean, it survived the flood.
Dan Auerbach, of course, is the vocalist and lead man of the Black Keys.
Yep. I remember listening to them with you for the first time, actually.
Really?
Yeah. We drove to...
Corbin?
No, Somerville.
Oh.
It's a while back. Yeah, because I downloaded that album.
Oh, man. I didn't realize that.
Like, it's been a while.
The Arcs?
Yeah, like I think it's the Yours Dreamily album.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
It's a great album. But the reason I've been listening to them lately, because that album came out like forever ago.
Correct. That was in 2019.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, like even then, the album came out back in, I want to say 2013, 2014.
Yeah, and I'm old, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I don't keep track of time. I just use the sundial.
So it was a while ago. Their drummer, Richard Swift, died.
Yeah.
Like I think during COVID.
That's too bad.
It is. He was a great session drummer. He actually was a part of several different bands. But they have come out. They're coming out with a new album posthumously, as far as he is concerned, and it's called Electrophonic Chronic.
When is that supposed to come out?
I don't know what the official release date is, but they've released 3 singles off of it so far.
Right on.
I guess the official release date is sometime next year because it's got a copyright of 2023 here in Apple Music. But the first 3 off of there, they're really good.
Nice.
Yeah, highly recommend.
I have been listening. Well, they're not really. So I liked Wet Leg last year. They're kind of my new band that I liked. And then
Yeah, I'm curious about them. There's that one there's that one song that's a radio hit.
they've got a couple that are like I like them. Like they've got some really cool songs. But there's these 2 girls down in I think they're in Buenos Aires.
Uh-huh.
And they do covers, which they are kind of like
Oh, I think you told me about them.
yeah, but they just put an album on Spotify today.
Oh.
Which is called like We're Not a Cover Band. It's basically mostly covers, but they're good.
I see what they did there.
Yeah. Yeah, but like no, they have some original stuff, and their original stuff I really like. Like I think they're gonna be pretty big. Their name is Pacifica.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
It's almost a railroad connection.
Yeah, they're cool. I like them. But you know, I messaged them like once or twice. I was like, hey, you guys are back.
They could have.
They could have what?
They could have just named themselves 462.
When I was the last time I was in Haines, there was a boat named Pacifica, and I took a picture of it and I DM'd it to them, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, we want to record on that." I'm like, "That's cool, like it's in Alaska. You guys are like 7,000 something miles away." But no, that was kind of cool that they, they're still not known enough that like I'm getting auto responded to.
Mm-hmm.
And they did put like a song on their album called Drummer Boy or something, where because it's just these 2 girls and their original stuff is really good. They kind of sound like the Strokes a little bit, but yeah, they like yeah, I like it. Like I played like they I got the song before they released it on Spotify or whatever, and so like today I was like playing along with it on my electronic drums, just like because there's no drums. It's just like a guitar and a bass track with them singing, and I was like, it's kind of fun to try to just invent your own drums, and then eventually when they are popular or whatever is going to eventually happen with them, see what they ultimately wind up coming up with. But that was kind of one little thing I did today, so that was kind of cool. But
very nice.
So I got one last question for you, and that is, I want to name this show / podcast. I don't even know what it's going to be actually called, but I want to call it The Great Railway Chinwag. And when you hear that name, would you rather punch me in the face or adopt me as your grandfather?
I mean, if those are the only 2 choices, I would punch you in the face.
Okay, fair enough. Why?
It's hard to explain. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, chinwag is a British term, is it not?
It is. It just means having a good old chat.
Well, and I wouldn't...
Google it.
I mean, look, I wouldn't punch you in the face because you sound British.
No, I don't, but my last name, though, could throw you off.
Okay, sure. I would punch you in the face because I'm a stupid American, and most Americans don't know what a chinwag is.
But that's part of the show.
Well, before you told me what a chinwag was, I literally imagined someone wagging their chin back and forth, like, with maybe like a little bit of flop going on.
No, not like. And we've been to Kentucky Fried Chicken too many times. I'm talking.
Yeah, I mean, like, but see that's the visual image I get. That's the image I get in my head, and it doesn't make me happy.
but it should, now that you know the truth.
The truth isn't good enough.
The truth is not good enough. That's straight up from Evan Lofback, everyone. The truth is not good enough.
Not in this case, it's not.
Oh, man. Well, hey, it's been fun. We will do this again. And the next time, let's watch that episode of the show, and then you can learn more about British humor, which apparently you do not understand.
I mean, I'm a fan of dry humor to a point.
My mom is not, as we started off with.
Which surprises me because I could see, I feel like that would be up her alley.
Yeah, it seems like it's like shooting a gun, like just into a neighborhood, and then like maybe you kill somebody, maybe you don't, maybe it just kind of goes into like some like concrete blocks. Like that is how dealing with my mom is with humor. So
It's like shooting a gun into a neighborhood.
Yeah, just shooting a gun with like a, let's say you got 5-6 bullets, like you just like.
Is she going to listen to this?
I hope so. Is she going to? No.
Okay.
I can already assure you that my mom will not be bored enough or entertained enough to listen to this. And she will also have the highest of criticism and then just make my depression worse. So, yeah. But,
don't be sad.
Yeah. That is my impression of my mom's humor. Just imagine shooting a gun into a random neighborhood. Maybe you hit.
Ruby Ridge.
Maybe you don't.
Shoot it through the bronze bars.
Right.
Past the 610.
Anyway, well, thanks for doing
610
this.
can't get in front of that bullet.
The 610 needs to have rebuild before it can do any kind of guardianship.
Yeah.
So, good times. But anyway, thanks for playing along.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll do this again if you'd like. And I hope that this was not boring.
No, this was fun.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you, and I'll see you later.
Bye.
Unfortunately, this has brought us to the end of this episode. What lies ahead in the future, I have no clue. Maybe the sun will come up. Maybe it won't. It has nothing to do with this show. But again, I'd like to thank Evan for taking the evening, making me that fancy pants cocktail that we talked about in the first episode. And hope everybody is enjoying the project so far. And again, the opinions that we are discussing do not reflect any of the people that we're talking about. So I hope everybody can have a good time with that. And yeah, I've got some people I've got lined up I'm going to cover and some topics I'd like to do. So we'll see how it goes. But until then, if you have any questions, you can always email me. And I'm not going to put that on here, but you can send me a message on YouTube. So until then, I'm out of coffee. And also this cue for this track ended. So I think I should stop recording. Okay, goodbye.